30 million Mexican tourists per year in the United States, only second to Canada. If you add up all European tourists that come to the US, they add up to 12 million. If you add up all Asian tourists that come to the US, they add up 7-8 million. So this is how important Mexico is for American tourism. 6 million American jobs depend on trade with Mexico. And if there's one thing I would like to, you guys remember here, it's this. That 40%, it just tells you how important, how linked, how connected our economies are. Now, Mexicans investing in real estate. Mexicans spent $6.6 billion in real estate, buying real estate in the US from 2011 to 2012. I think that's 43% more than the previous period. We're third place behind Canada and China. For us, it's a good investment. Prices came down, Mexican economy is up, middle class is up, and a lot of families are looking at a good investment to invest in real estate. California is a little bit tricky because it's really expensive, but Texas has a lot of investment of Mexican families, buying homes. Now, when you're selling to Mexico, when you're looking to sell in Mexico, Mexico's a big country. Mexico's a big country. There's 150 million people. Where do I sell? Where do I concentrate? Who to sell to? So this will give you an idea about the purchasing power. This is really updated. Basically, all this area here, the northern part, the very industrialized area, this area here, there's a high concentration of technology, are the highest purchasing power, and also Mexico City, that's like over here. Well, it's in the center of this, but the areas around Mexico City have a lower purchasing power, but Mexico City has, I think, the highest, of course, in the country. So, but you can see where the money is, basically. So Mexico's market, we're the 13th largest economy in the world. Mexico is a middle-class country, despite what a lot of people think. Mexico's a middle-class country. Middle income country. A lot of countries have right now 2,000, 3,000 as a GDP. Mexico has something very interesting, is that Mexico has similar consumption patterns to the US. So something that's popular here most likely will be popular in the US. So if it's built here, if it's music, if it's technology, if it's clothing, Mexico will probably buy it. So the trends go to Mexico a little later, but because of technology, the gap has been narrowing. So it used to be we were 10 years behind in trends, but now it's not so much. It's picking up. But again, if it's successful here, most likely it will, unless it's salsa. Unless it's salsa. If it's salsa, don't bother. We're all stuck up. No tariffs on US exports to Mexico. A few restrictions there, but mostly if the product is considered NAFTA, has a certain percentage of Canadian components or American components, the product can go into Mexico without paying tariffs or duties. Currently we have 45 million internet users. It's a good number, should be higher. But that's right now the potential market that you have. That's the income they have, that's what they're buying, the areas, who's using internet. Now Mexico's a market for California. As Joe mentioned, Mexico is the #1 client of anything made in California. And it has been growing exponentially every year. We go up in our consumption around 7%, 7.1% of what we buy from California. Mexico bought 21 million in 2010. Joe, thank you, you're outdated that, I'm gonna change it after this. It went up to 26 billion in 2012. So the numbers match. The first largest industry, it's electronics, computers, anything that's innovation and technology. The second largest industry of what we buy, it's transportation and equipment. Third largest is machinery and non-electrical. So these make up like 1/3 of what we buy. And Mexico's in the top 5 of the most important destinations for California agricultural exports. I mean, we have a lot of agriculture ourselves, but we buy a lot from California also. Our blueberries are not as good. Not good. We don't grow blueberries as good. So, and this will give you the tendency of the consumption of Mexico from California. And you see, of course, you know, this years were not good years. Everyone had a tough time, but it picked up. And if we go to 2012, it'll go up to 26 billion, being still the #1 client for California. Export opportunities or business opportunities. I wouldn't call it so much export opportunities, I would call it business opportunities. From the US to Mexico, there are huge opportunities. I won't talk specifically about each and every one of them, but just talking about aerospace and automotive, around 70% of the aerospace industry that we have, 70% of the automotive industry we have, it's huge. We're talking about OEMs. You're talking about Chevrolet, you're talking about Sikorsky, you're talking about Bombardier, Honda. So we've got the original manufacturers. And then we have the tier 1, that's the next level that supply them. But then there's tiers 2, tier 3, tier 4, smaller components. And that's in the tier 3, tier 4, that's where Mexico hasn't done a good job still of developing suppliers for those large companies in Mexico. So a lot of those foreign companies that are investing in Mexico and manufacturing aircrafts or automobile transportation, they don't find the suppliers they need. So they buy most of it, more than 90%. They have to buy it from somewhere else, and but they would rather buy it in Mexico. So there's an opportunity there because they would rather have someone next to them and selling them the CNC machining they can't find in Mexico. So this one is huge, and the contracts are 20 years, and they're really, really high. And we found that sometimes the small mom and pop shops that do manufacturing, they don't know a lot about it. So we want the big companies in Mexico to be happy. So we go ourselves as government and talk to small companies and tell them, go sell, because we want them to be happy. And some of them are not very responsive, but there's huge opportunity. Large automotive and aerospace companies in Mexico are very, very interested in buying small components, machining, specifically aerospace. There's also opportunities in education. There's something we haven't, again, there hasn't been a lot of connections for business in education between the US and Mexico. There's huge opportunities, there's gaps there. Mexico pays a lot for education, and American market is missing out. What else can we talk about? Franchising. I always love franchising. So I'm 33, okay? When I was, what, 90s? Early 90s, like over 10 years old, you couldn't get a Snicker bars in Mexico. I mean, there wasn't stuff like that in Mexico. There was no fast food, there was no franchising, you know? And you had to eat your mom's burger. And she said she did it like McDonald's, but it really wasn't. And so suddenly, after 1994, when the NAFTA came into place, we had all this influx of investment of the U.S., and you started getting all this market, all these franchises like Domino's and McDonald's, and the people that jumped into it made a lot of money in franchising. But after what, 20 years? After 20 years, I mean, you hear all this stuff about McDonald's, you hear all this stuff about Domino's, but you know it too well. I mean, we need something new. And it's something that the US has stopped doing. Even though the market has grown, the US hasn't invested in franchising in Mexico. So, I mean, if you had a Five Guys instead of a McDonald's, people would go, they would flock there. And we're not seeing that. So there are huge gaps in franchising that people are not taking advantage. Even HR Block, just having like a cookie cutter approach for accounting, you know. So, and we don't trust our accountants. So, so if they come from the US, we're gonna be cool. So franchising, I'm not only talking about hamburgers, I'm talking about accounting. Health and medical. So we have right now at least 1 million baby boomers living in Mexico. And we have been slow to cash in on that with services. And these people have cash. I mean, it's not a loan. So whatever they buy, they pay up front, it's cash. And there are huge opportunities to create services for them. Right now, the million baby boomers are concentrated like in 2 towns. So they could go to other places, but it's not developed for them. So if an American company would like to put up services for them, that would be a good market. And of course, they would also trust, there would be a trust thing there also. They would like Americans also providing services to cater to their needs. IT, also there's huge opportunities in IT, all levels. I mean, IT is huge, so we're not going to go specific, but IT is there's a lot of opportunities. Travel, tourism, I mean, there's not a lot of tourism promoting in the US. We come a lot, but it's not promoted in Mexico. We come because we know about it, we have it it's next door, it's our neighbor, but there's more that could be done. I mean, Mexicans the middle class is growing, and they have more resources. Now they're going to Thailand, now they're going to Brazil, and then they're going to India and South Africa. But they could be coming to the US also, and again, the US is not promoting enough and doing business connection for travel and tourism. So those are a few, I won't go more into detail, but those are a few of the options for business opportunities in Mexico. Now, what else is it's an opportunity with Mexico? Where's the opportunity? Mexico's a springboard to Latin America. So Latin America has a booming economy. Not all of Latin America, but specifically these countries, Costa Rica, Colombia, Peru, Chile, Brazil, have a very, very healthy economic situation and growth, and it's growing. So we've found that a lot of companies in the US are interested in selling to those markets, but they don't have connections, the language, so culturally also it can be different. So all this economic growth in Latin America means something. It means good business opportunities for US companies, but there are gaps because you can't find everything you want in South America and Central America. So how do you jump into it? Okay, so there's opportunities in Latin America, but how do we jump into it? There are several options. One of them is using Mexican partners or distributors for the US products and services. And we just were helping a company from Hayward. They developed technology for transportation, for logistics, to save fuel. And it's a new technology, and they want to sell in Latin America, and they don't know anyone there. So they partner up with a Mexican logistics company that's been around for a while, and so they will become the official distributor of the Hayward technology in fuel saving. What are the advantages? Why did they pick, and I asked them, why did you pick the Mexican partner or distributor? Language, of course, even though we have different accents, but language is a huge part. Experience working with our brothers from South America. Logistics, jumping from Mexico to South America, it's simpler. And Mexico has free trade agreements with all these countries. That means that if the product complies and it's within the sectors, it will go into Chile or Colombia with no duties and no tariffs. So we see it becoming bigger, this trend, but it could get bigger. The company I'm talking about, is going to sell only in Mexico $70 million. So only in Mexico. Can we expect what they're going to sell in Latin America after that? Now, also another area of opportunity is there's Mexican creativity and design. It's really hot right now, but you go to a lot of places and shops and they're only selling design from Europe or from Japan, which is great and I love it and I have some stuff myself, but there's a lot of stuff from Mexico, modern, that it has a market. It has a market. So people that come up to me and want to bring stuff from Mexico, they always want to bring the traditional stuff like Oaxacan barro, how do you say, clay? Yeah. Clay, yeah. So they bring really traditional stuff, but this is high-end things that could be sold at a higher price for another market. I would love this in my house. I would love this. Even the New York MoMA, the Museum of Modern Art, jumped into it, and they put an exhibition of Mexican design in their store, for it to be sold. So they can't be wrong. And also traditional, like Mexican products, like from breweries also. So it's not only furniture and clothing and design, but it's also gourmet products or breweries and stuff like that you don't find here in the U.S. Other examples of products right now, this was exhibited at the end. So it's like a yo-yo, but it's used to hang stuff, and this could be sold for $300 and they're selling it. I tried to buy one and you can't buy it anymore, they were all in stock. Bamboo cycles, they're from Mexico City for kids and for grown-ups. The Mastreta, the first Mexican vehicle built Mexican vehicle. So you don't see this. You don't see this here, and we should, because there's a market for it. Now, talking specifically, what other things are happening? Where are there opportunities? Mexican technology and innovation. Traditionally, we have never been known for our technology and our innovation. But right now, there's really exciting stuff happening in Mexico, in technology and innovation. There's a lot of, talent in Mexico is huge, with all this creativity and that there is. And it's been there for a long time. But now it's booming, and these startups that are in Mexico, they're flocking into the US, specifically to the Silicon Valley. So just this year, I probably worked with 21 startups from Mexico. And I'm a one-man show in my office. So there's probably more, but I can't be everywhere at the same time. But I just by myself, 21 companies, startups from Mexico that are coming to Silicon Valley, and they're having a growing presence. Now, what are they looking for here? When they come here, what are they looking for? They're looking for mentorship, investment, mostly seed, clients, early adopters, and acceleration programs. There are things that in Mexico are tough to get. Mentorship is tough to get, but the opportunities are for Americans is in investment and early adopters. That's where the opportunities are for this market, and I'm going to explain why. Why investment and early adopters? So the first business opportunity, talking about Mexican technology and innovation, is investment. Again, mostly seed. We're very well covered in the angel investment. You know, we're talking about $25,000, $30,000, $50,000. 500 startups that's based in Mountain View, very, very popular. They opened up an office in Mexico City that takes care of all of Latin American startups. They invest $50,000 in them. So we're very well covered in the angel investment. It's the next step of $200,000 to $1 million where we're missing out a little bit in Mexico. So a lot of those companies and startups that have huge potential, they're coming here because they're looking for seed investment of that sort. Most startups would, and if those startups would get the funding, they would, of course, set up an office in the Silicon Valley. Mexican banking system is the most expensive one in the world. It's very expensive, and I mean, you have to have 2 houses in Cancun, you know, a loft in Mexico City, and land, a beach in Puerto Vallarta to get a loan. So basically, not need money for the bank to loan, to get a loan from the bank. I hear people here to complain a lot about the interest rates. I mean, in Mexico, you get 44% interest rates from the bank. When I got here, I bought my car, and I got what I thought it was a good interest rate of 7.1%. And when I tell everyone, well, I didn't tell everyone, I told a few people, and they said, no, don't do it, go back, do not accept 7.1 for me in Mexico, you get 44%. So for me, I signed it right away. I thought it was a mistake. I thought they were missing a 5 there or something. And I took it right away. So I don't know, you have to really give props to Mexican entrepreneurs with what they do. Because what Mexicans do with the conditions that we have for entrepreneurs in Mexico is amazing. If they would have the conditions that they have in the US, the challenging conditions that we have in the US right now, they would skyrocket. I mean, they would be huge. So these are just a few of the companies that I have been helping right now. You know, everything is worth mentioning, but I mean, Dribble It, these guys, they developed a hardware software solution to save water. So they created a hardware that you connect to the faucet or the shower head, and an app tells you how much water you're wasting. It's something you never know how much you're wasting, so it helps you save water. They're here right now, and they're looking for $750,000 of investment. But it's a huge market. It's huge potential. Okay. And you have others like HostSpot that they're here also. They came here for a demo day, competing with other 30 startups from all over the world. They're from Mexico City, and they came here. They were going to be here for 2 weeks, and they go back. They won the demo day, they won the investment, and they didn't leave. So they got a house and everything, and they called their parents and said, we're not going back. So feed the dog, I'm not going back. These guys, they created a device that you connect it to your internet inside the supermarket. And the device tells you in real time, in your tablet or phone or whatever, it tells you where the clients are moving within the store, where's the concentration, which aisle is completely, empty, people are not going through there, who's a new client, who's a regular client, which area they're spending more time, how much time they're spending in the store, which devices they're using. Are they using Android? Are your clients using iOS? Are your clients using BlackBerry? And we come to the second business opportunity with Mexican technology and innovation. It's early adoption. These Mexican startups are looking for early adopters in the Silicon Valley. The thing is, they could have 20 early adopters in Mexico. It doesn't mean anything for an investor here. You could have Cemex or Bimbo or Modelo, huge companies in Mexico as early adopters. Doesn't mean anything for an investor here. So they need early adopters here. Someone that's willing to use their technology for free and in return for feedback and exposure. So it's a very good deal. Potential collaboration with, and this is a very good potential collaboration with chambers of commerce, because chambers of commerce have memberships, and so these members could be using Mexican technology for free just in exchange of feedback. So can you imagine if someone would be using post-pop technology within their store to know, which areas are strong, what time is better for to get clients inside the store. Post-pop, it's what they did. Superama is a Mexican supermarket chain. They're already doing it in Mexico, but they need early adopters here. And we're creating a list of those companies. We're creating a document so that anyone that's interested in knowing more, we can just share it, and someone would say, hey, I'm interested in this service and this service, and we'll just hook you up with the company and you decide. Mexican business culture. Mexicans are not nosy. We're just friendly. When you're gonna do business with a Mexican, we will ask you about your family, where you went to school, what you had for breakfast. But it's not that we're nosy, it's just that we're being friendly. For Mexicans, friendship is first, family is first. So doing business, you want to know who you're doing business with and feel very familiar with that person. So we're not being nosy, don't be offended, we're just being friendly. Because Americans are very, are right to the point. I mean, time is money, and that's true, but that's not the way we do it. Mexicans do not know how to say no or I don't know. It doesn't matter which area from Mexico they are, if they're wealthy or not, it doesn't matter. We do not know how to say no and how to say I don't know. If you go in Mexico City or wherever and you're lost and you ask someone, oh, how do I get to this museum? And they have no idea, they will not say I don't know. You will see such a commitment, and they will be so sure of, you have to go straight 3 miles approximately, turn right, then there's a stop sign, and you'll see a store there, Mr. Pepe's there, just turn left there. Has no idea what he's saying. Has no idea what he's saying, but we want to help. We don't know how to say I don't know. And I've done it myself. So no, it's true. If a client, if you're negotiating, if you're talking with someone in Mexico for business and they say, if they don't have the quoting that you need, they're not going to say I don't have it, because we don't like to share bad news. So they won't answer your email. If they don't have an answer for you, they will not answer your email. They will not answer the phone. They will run from you if they see you in the street, because we don't say I don't have it. So, but don't be offended. Again, it's just cultural. Mexicans do not negotiate; they haggle. So it's something that we do. I mean, if it's an informal business, we haggle. We're good at that. Negotiating, it's different. The Americans are very good negotiators. So when you're starting to negotiate a business, the American starts at a certain point of what he wants to pay, but in reality it's another number. But if it's really, really low, the Mexican company will not continue the conversation. They will shut down communication. They will say no. They won't say no, thank you, I'm not interested. They will shut down communication. So when you're trying to negotiate with a Mexican business man or woman, start very close to where of what you're willing to pay. Tomorrow really means anytime this month. I think we're almost a lot of time, so this just a few pointers of outsourcing in Mexico. I won't go through it. It's just very important for you to ask, what's the, when you're talking to someone, because we tend to say no problem, but sometimes no problem means a problem. Ask, what's the current capacity, years of operation, referrals, past and current clients. If they don't want to give you the referrals, that's not a good sign. number of employees, certification if needed, and countries where they have exported. Just to see the background of the company, do your homework. And of course, contact ProMexico if you want references of companies to find a supplier of some sort. Advantages of doing business in Mexico, similar culture, not the same, similar culture, business etiquette, same time zone. No more conference calls with other parts where conference calls at 2 o'clock in the morning. English is widely spoken. Availability of professional services, respect for patents and intellectual property, unless it's music and movies, but everything else is very well protected. Less expensive logistics and growing Mexican market. So a conclusion, just to wrap it up, we're not direct competitors. You know, we asked at the beginning, we're not direct competitors. We're partners that work together to create goods. Our future is linked. Economic cooperation with Mexico is one of the best ways for the U.S. to improve its global competitiveness and defend American industry against other competing regions. We're more than business partners, we're neighbors and we're friends. This is my contact information, email address if you need any, if you have any questions that I could address. And I'm based in San Francisco, but San Jose is my home. This is where I live. Thank you so much.